had notes, but my cell phone died, and I don't have those now. So, relying on technology. My sermon today is about the worthlessness of man without Christ. You know, a lot of us know how worthless we are, but a lot of us never really realize how worthless we are. And then when you really begin to think about it, when you really open up and let yourself see the truth of who you are, and what you are, what you become, it can be frightening and scary. You just start at the lowest, easiest death. I worked out ever since I was a little bit after 14. Well, 14 to about 28. I am now 29, and I got married this last year and basically sat around for the entire last year. And I was rather good shape. At least I always thought I was. I'm big, strong, really good. And 1 year sitting, I went with a hike with my brother and sister a while back, and at the end of the hike, I was going, 1 year. 1 year of sitting after working out in my entire life. Well, not my entire life, but that's my entire life to me because I'm so young. 1 year, all that work I did all my life was gone. Do you realize how fragile we are? How weak we are? Us human beings can die in a second like that. Everything we dreamed, everything we accomplished, everything we worked for, gone. Gone in a second. You could be sitting in your house and a fire happened and you not be able to get out. You burn horribly bad, your entire life ruined or dead. You can walk out outside, get hit by a car. You can be driving, hit by a car, crash. Millions of things that could happen every single day that can destroy your entire life. In an instant, you'd be gone. Gone. Everything you work for, everything you are, gone. Man is fragile. Man is weak. If we were to just put it this way, Paul, one of the great apostles, said that man was as grass, one here a day and gone tomorrow. And man works all their life for this elusive thing called happiness. Elusive desire, fulfilling the lust of your own flesh. And 90% of us never obtain happiness. I'd say in borderline, almost 100% of us never really obtain happiness. What is the worth of life? What's the use in life? So we have established that now, man, you know you are weak. You know that everything you have can be gone in a second. Just dwell upon that for a second. Go ahead and dwell upon it just a second. Think about it. 1 second in your life can be gone in a second. That very second you're thinking about it, you could be on. Everything you worked out, your leg cut off, who knows, whatever. Millions of things can happen, and your life can be gone. Everything you work for. All right? Now let's go ahead and look at the state of man. By the way, there's only one reason why you're probably not dead right now, because of God's mercy, God's goodness, because there's nothing you deserve, nothing you've done to keep you from doing that. I've watched people live their entire lives being health fanatics, and they fall down their stairs and break their neck, and guess what? Now they're paralytic and they get fat. Wow, wonderful. Yeah. Or worse, they die. You know, I'm going to drive that home a little bit more. You know, because even with that, let's look at Steve Jobs. His entire life, he made this amazing company called Apple. All right? Everyone knows Steve Jobs. He just died a little bit back. It's barely been a while since his company, I'm not 100% sure about this, but someone told me that his stock has already dropped by 50%, Apple or something like that, since he died. His entire empire, that's an empire, man. Everyone knows Apple. Be gone. It's going to be gone. I can almost guarantee you within the next 2 years, Apple will be almost worth nothing. And a few years after that, unless God intervenes or they get an amazing person, You won't even hear of Apple anymore. One great man, amazing man, his entire life built up Apple. Gone. One here one day, gone the next. We have an entire history of people who rose up, entire kingdoms there, worked their entire lives. Alexander the Great captured the known world, drunk himself to a stupor death in beer. If you died this instant, your family might remember you for 2 years, and then you become a distant memory. Your neighborhood, remember maybe you 3 months, a year if you're a good person. Your neighborhood. State, you're gone the next day. The nation, they couldn't even give a rip that you lived. The world, who was that guy? All right? So, just think about it. You were nothing. I am nothing. You're fragile. And then let's look at what man has done, what man has accomplished. We think we're so amazing. Look what we have accomplished. Look at the buildings we built. Wow, look at the technology we have. But the reality is that man is wicked and deprived and horrible, wretched. I remember hearing, well, this is my personal life story. I'm seeing this happen to someone. This young girl, from the age of 12, she was oppressed by this older man. Oppressed, I mean really oppressed. The horrible things this older man did to her. She gets around 19, 18 years old, and this man's still oppressing her. And eventually, somehow, she ends up living with this man, 40-year-old man. By the time she's 20, she's living with this man, in bed with him, yes. This horrible man. She has 2 children to another man, not this man, 2 children to another man. She finally decides to get her life right. And she marries the father of the 2 children. She wants to do what's right, no matter what. She has decided in her heart she's going to do what's right. And that's only by God's mercy. She goes to take her 2 children with her to move in with the man. She just married. She married the man that was the father of the 2 children. This other man takes her to court, who's 40 years old. He's like, I think 30 years older than her. 30 years older than her. Takes her to court, gets the 2 kids. He doesn't have a single genetic thing on him, doesn't have anything on him. He takes the 2 kids from this girl that he's oppressed all of his life, that he's threatened bodily with gun, pointing straight at her. That's our modern day, what do they call that? Justice system. That's American justice system. That's supposed to be noble and great and honorable. But you know what I've seen? Nothing but wickedness come from our justice system. Some of the things that they declared are horrible, wicked, and filthy. That's our modern justice system. Yeah, we're a great, wonderful society. And then we look at what we say, well, we're better than what they were, I don't know, 100, 200 years ago. We are a lot more advanced. Well, let's look at that. 150 years ago, this year, we are celebrating Gettysburg for getting rid of slavery. Well, you know what? Slavery in the world is actually at an all-time high. It's actually increased since just in the last 40 years. It's increased, slavery. You look it up on the net. I couldn't believe it. Slavery is massively big in the world right now. Okay, wow, we really haven't improved much. Let's look again. Murder, massive murder. Unborn children. I don't care what you call it, it's murder. Total murder of unborn children. Thousands, millions of unborn baby children. The most beautiful, most precious things that you can ever hold or think of in your entire life, murdered. No, we haven't increased. We've only gotten worse. And we call it society. We call our great man. And then, well, let's go ahead and look at our politics. What we believe, morality. Morality, it's gone insane. You can't even say, well, this is right and that's wrong anymore. It's gone insane. We see things happening in morality that doesn't happen even in nature. What's natural? Man has forsaken the natural things. And then what's even worse? What's coming up? It's going to be horrible. I'm afraid for my children if I have any. They're going to make being child molesters a state of mind. No longer will you go to jail for being a child molester. No, you just have something wrong mentally. So guess what? Someone molests your children? Oh, he's just got something wrong with him. Oh yeah, and it totally damages the child for the rest of their life, and they're going to probably grow up to be a horrible, twisted person because of it. Because they're too afraid to tell what happened. It's horrible. No, man's society is depraved, wicked, and filthy. I'm not angry. It's just a realization of the truth. And then we come down to you as a personal being, to me as a personal being. Every man will try to tell you that he has no sins, but the Bible will tell you, I will tell you, and his friends will tell you, anyone who knows anyone, that man has problems. I have problems. I have horrible, wretched problems. I just don't want to admit them. You know, and then every man will declare to you his goodness, but who can find a faithful man? Who can really find a good man? God has blessed us here with this church with quite a few decent people. But I've seen, for every good person, I've seen at least 1,000 horrible, wretched people. And I've been a horrible, wretched person myself. Mankind, the worthlessness of man, is worthless. We, as ourselves, are worthless. You look at what man has accomplished all throughout history. Look, without God's intervention, which God has intervened quite a few times in history. But we look at it. We look at Hitler. That's man. That's pure man-driven. That man was driven. Yes, he was a driven man. But did you see what he accomplished? Look at Stalin. He was a driven man. What did he accomplish? Millions of dead, innocent dead. All for one man's dream. You look at all throughout history, what has man accomplished? What has man done? Wretched, horrible things. The only thing that's good has happened. Only good things that have happened are when God intervened. When God came in and did something amazing. He changed people's lives around. Well then, okay. Well, we still have one great thing for him. Look at all the technology we've achieved. I was thinking about that. Yeah, the technology we see. Look at this, look at this. This little thing here has more power and computing power in it than you can imagine. It's supposed to have my notes, but it died. Yeah, fragile. Anyway. Yeah, I need a battery. Anyway, but technology, let's look at it. Truly, let's look at technology. What has it really done for us? Actually, it's supposed to increase the reliability, easiness of our life. But I actually think that our lives are a lot more convoluted and harder than what we didn't have technology. But that's just my personal opinion. But so I went ahead and began to really look at technology and technological advances, and I found out something. I found out something very interesting. That almost all technological advances that were actually helpful and useful to man and not detrimental to man, they came from Christians, people that were sold out, completely lock, stock, and barrel to God, that all they wanted to do was serve and obey God, to love him. Look at Thomas Edison. You know what? He was one heck of an awesome Christian. He invented the light bulb and electricity. Wow, almost everything's technology. The technology comes off of that. Look at George Washington Carver. That's amazing the stuff he did. Look, if you don't know anything about George Washington Carver, he's the dude, but they just call him a peanut man. But he created plastics. He's also the one who came up with asphalt. The original formula for asphalt and shampoo. All this stuff came from George Washington Carver. You don't hear much about that stuff. Tuskegee Institute. The technologies that came out of there, we don't give them the credit to that, but those people were for God, all about God. They gave every credit they did. George Washington Carver actually went into a room, locked himself away for 2 weeks, or something like that. I can't remember the exact details. Locked himself and said, Lord, what did you create the peanut for? And he came out with over 400 things, technology, for the peanut. You know, that wonderful tasting, high-calorie snack. Yeah, peanut butter, one of my favorite foods. But this was given to him by God. And we look more down through technology. Benjamin Franklin, while he might not have been exactly technology, but he had a lot of advancement towards technology. He loved God. A lot of people tell you, no, he was an agnostic. This is not true. If you ever read his writings, or look at who he was, he loved and served and obeyed God. We look at Henry Ford. He's the Model T, right? All right. Henry Ford loved God. He had an amazing mother. Was that him that was addled when he was younger? Henry Ford? No, that was Thomas Edison. My bad. Anyway, but Henry Ford as well. If you look at him, his life, his writings, his readings, he loved God. He served God with all of his heart, and he wanted to have he wanted man to be able to have this vehicle so to help them. And guess what? He's basically the father of all automobiles. He might not have created them, but everything comes off of what he did. We look back through history, and we really begin to look at all the technological advances, and we find out that they were either given to us by God through man, or they were stirred from Christian men that were given their ideals from God. And I went looking for this biblically, and I was like, wow, you know what, this is true, but I didn't think it was in the Bible. Well, I found it quite a few places. Yeah, it's dead. I was going to show you. But one of them is in Proverbs. It says, I, wisdom, will give witty inventions to them who seek me. This is wisdom. Wisdom gives witty inventions. Oh, wow. Wait, so inventions and stuff are from God in the Bible. Wisdom, God, man. You know, and then you begin to think about some of the things that I've seen and been given. You know, there's some amazing inventions that I've seen in my dreams that I've just never acted on. One that's plagued me for a long time, I'm going to go ahead and throw out there. You can have the rights to it. I just ask that you give me one when you make one, if you ever make one. If you ever, it might cost you probably about $100,000 to develop this, but I believe it'll be the biggest hit success there ever was. I like physical fitness. All the men back here like physical fitness. But the problem is that to really get your muscles to grow, to really strain yourself, you have to take your muscles to a point where they're about ready to break. There is a point when there's an extreme pressure. That's when they grow, the fastest and the best. Well, to get to that takes a lot of work. Believe me, I know from experience. Sitting there and pumping 250 pounds as many times as possible, get up, walk around, and then go ahead and do a million squats and just ridiculous things we do with metal to get exercise. This thing is a round circular, like a round metal. How would they describe that? A metal circular. I'm lost. Okay, let me think. All right, it's you've got a circle that goes all the way around. It's a giant metal piece, and you stand in the middle. It's braced on either side, and it is electromagnet. It has braces for your feet that will be attracted to electromagnet and braces for your hands. So you hold it like this. All right? Yeah, and it connects to the electromagnet up here and the electromagnet down here. And you can pull it like this, like doing pull-ups. Then when it turns on, you curl yourself like this. And the electromagnets provide massive amount of resistance. It takes a decent amount of electricity. But that's not all. If you were to use electrical impulses to make your muscles tighten to their max and use technological computers to test right before they break or strain, you would be able to get a full workout, a full body workout in under 15 minutes that would guarantee increase all your muscles, your core, everything in only 15 minutes. And that was given to me in a dream. We have the technology, it just takes a bit to design it and make it. Electrical impulses in your muscles, and using computer science to make sure, take your muscles right to the breaking point, not the breaking point, what do they call that? Stretching point, where you have to get for they'll grow. And if you do that for 15 minutes, just one time 15 minutes, you'll be worth hours worth of workout. And that's just one. I've seen it in my dream. I thought about it for a long time. Don't have the resources to make it. But see, God will give you witty inventions. If that's not witty, I don't know what is. And there's some other things I've seen, and I'm just like, wow, I wonder if that really works. Just don't have the money to do it. But when you seek God, He will. Sometimes He'll give you amazing things. He speaks to us in our dreams, the Bible tells us. So, man, the technological advances that we have, we cannot attribute to man. And the ones that we can attribute to man, most of the time we'd rather not really attribute to them to man. We could have developed a rather wild array to destroy our flesh, to destroy the flesh of others, to rip each other up. And I don't think a lot of them are from God. Some of them might have been ripped off of God's ideals that was given to man. But God never intended us to make the horrible killing machines that we have nowadays. No. Yeah, man can think of wonderful ways to kill each other, torture each other, and do horrible things. But when it comes to actually benefiting each other, no. So they're like, well, what's the answer, Daniel? Look, okay, I now realize. Yeah, I'm weak. I'm wretched. We're wretched as a human race. Horrible beings. So was the answer religion? See, a lot of people turn to religion because they finally realize that they are wretched, horrible beings. But you know what? Religion is a funny thing because it does just as bad to you as the wicked and deprived of the world. I've watched religion destroy homes and families just as fast as drinking and beer. And you're like, what? Well, I'll tell you why that is. Because man's mind is so easy to manipulate and brainwash. Here, I'm going to tell you a story. This man left home. He ran a block. He turned the corner, ran that block, turned the corner, ran that block, and turned the corner again. He comes back, and here are two men in masks waiting for him at home. All right. Now, think about that. What does that mean? All right. I just brainwashed you because I know exactly what you're thinking when I say that. But I'm going to tell you something that'll unbrainwash you in an instant. Let's watch this. He was playing baseball. That's pretty amazing. I just brainwashed you. I made you think that guy was in trouble. Well, let's do this. Now, if I'm willing to really brainwash you, let's make this a little bit more interesting. Both of the men were wearing weird uniforms, and one of the men had a weird object on his hand. Oh, that makes it a little bit more. I've just brainwashed you with you thinking about that. This is true. I know, but now that you know, but if I were to tell you that beforehand, you'd be like, wow, this guy, there's evil men waiting for this guy. Now, if I want to stretch the truth, or I might mistake because I didn't see the object, I could say the object looked dangerous in the guy's hand. And this is what religion does. It's so easy to twist the truth and make it seem so real from perspective. Religion does only two things to man. I believe this full-heartedly now. Religion can either make you a fool that is easily manipulated to destroy your own life and others. That's one thing, man. One thing that religion does can make you a fool that is easily manipulated to destroy your own life and other people's lives. We watch this every day with things. Well, look, religion. I know people mock Muslims, and it's a horrible religion. It is, but they are full on fire for their own religion. So much full for that they believe what they want. They believe that their religion is so right that they're willing to strap bombs to themselves and go blow themselves up. That's conviction. That's amazing conviction, but that's religion, and that's what religion gets you. And the other thing, this is what Christians have a problem with. Religion makes you a helpless fool that's always waiting on God to do something and never get off your own duff to do it. I watched it happen. I watched it in my own life. I watched it in almost a lot of Christians' life. They're always waiting for God to show up and do something instead of actually get up and begin to do something, and then God will help you. It's amazing how we just sit there thinking that God's going to go show up and an amazing light show and do something amazing in our life. Instead of actually going, okay, God, what do you want me to do? And then he'll show up. A good example is I recently wrote a book. It's not completely edited and published yet, but it's over almost a 300-page book. And that's something I can't do in the flesh, because I had dyslexia when I was a kid. I could barely read and write because of that. And I didn't really want to learn. I wanted to go do something else. So it was really hard to teach a kid who doesn't want to learn and has dyslexia. And so I didn't really get, I had a good education, but I didn't have a good education because I didn't want to. But now, because I got off my duff and said, okay, God, what do you want me to do? And he's given me a vision, an amazing vision I believe will happen, will come true, and will touch millions of lives. And this is just one step, small steps. And I wrote this book. I'm already writing the second one to it. Already 76 pages, 74 pages into writing that. But he's enabled me because I got off my duff and began to do it. See, but religion makes you so easy to manipulate and horrible. But it's so easy to fall into the trap of religion, because when it comes down to it, we want to have a good life, a happy life. We want to do what's right, but we're not really willing to fight the good fight of faith, to find the truth. Religion, I've watched religious people destroy people who want the truth's lives because of religion. There's so many do's and don'ts, when the reality is there's no do's and don'ts. It's relationship. That's the answer, relationship with Christ. Without Christ, man is worthless. With religion, man is worse than worthless. It is damning. Because a person who doesn't have Christ and doesn't have religion has a chance to find Christ and have a relationship with him. A person who has religion thinks he knows the answers, believes he has the truth, and destroys other people's lives. You know, one saying that my wife read when she was reading, and I didn't think it was quite right at that time, but I've come to truly understand it and believe it now, that, you know, Christians are some of the worst people to meet on the road when they try to talk to you about Christ, because they believe they have the truth and they'll push it as the truth. When reality is nobody actually has the truth. Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. It's a walk. It's an everyday walk to find the truth in Jesus, to find the truth, to know the truth and find the truth. But you don't have the truth, because the instant you believe you know the truth and that what you believe is absolutely right, that's when you don't have the truth. And that's a problem with a lot of Christians. And that's one of the reasons why the world hates Christians. There's many reasons, and I can't fault them for any of them. Well, I can fault for a few of them. But most of them, because Christians are religious, and they're actually just as bad as the world. The answer, and the only answer, is a relationship with Christ. A hard-fought relationship with Christ. To every day say, okay, Lord, show me your will. Okay, Lord, to walk. It's easy to have religion. It's easy to go off and do whatever you want. Either way are easy. Those are easy sides of the ditches. It's a very straight, you got to walk the tightrope of a relationship with God, a relationship with Christ. This is the only answer. Because otherwise you destroy your own life and destroy the life of others. Every day, it's so easy to look at other people and criticize them and tell them blah, 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 blah. But the reality is, the instant you do that, you're off the tightrope. You're off the rope with Christ. You're on your own understanding over here in religion. Blah, 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 blah. Telling him this, that. No, you keep your own eyes on your walk with Christ. You don't look at this person, because look at Peter. When he was the only man amazing enough to, Jesus is walking on the water. Everyone knows the story. At least I think most people know this story because it's one of the more favorite stories. Man walks on water. Jesus is walking across the river, giant ocean. What is it called? Galilee. He's walking across Galilee, and Peter goes, "If that's you, Lord, call me out to you." And he goes, "Come." Peter actually get out of the boat. It's storming out, and he begins to walk on the water. And he's keeping his eyes on Jesus. And next thing you know, he sees this giant wave coming, and he sinks. Jesus saves him, and then he says, "Oh, ye of little faith." Little faith. He just got out on the water. That's the way man thinks. But what happens is he got his eyes off of Jesus. And that's what happens every time we get our eyes on someone else. That same wave that we go, "Wow, that wave just wiped out that person. Oh, he shouldn't have done that." Next thing you know, you open yourself open for that same wave or another wave. Every time we get our eyes on someone else, we get off that tightrope, that relationship walk with God. And I'm not saying that you can't go to another person in love and try to help. But the best way to actually help is to show them love and show them the walk. And not even try to show them the walk, but to walk the walk. And they'll see. They'll begin to see and understand. They'll believe. If you can truly walk that walk, that's one thing that will turn people's eyes, is a true believing man. A true person who truly walks the walk. And it's not an easy road, because there is so many things in this world that are so easy, much easier to follow after. It's so easy to turn your eyes on someone else or run off into the world. You know, it's just like your relationship with if you get married. There is so many variable things that can tear you and your wife apart. And that's just the physical. The Bible says if you cannot love your brother, then how can you love God? If you cannot love your brother who you can see, how can you love God who you cannot see? This is so true. If I can't love you, if I can't love her, if I can't love you like Christ loved the church, then how the heck can I love God? So you've got to walk that walk. You can't rely on religion. You can't rely on other people. You've got to seek the truth daily for yourself. At least you become like that flower of grass. One here one day, gone the next. My lawnmowers might come along and wipe you out. No, I mean, come on. It's how easy. Look, I have all these millions of pieces of grass growing. And summer's here, and guess what? They're popping out of the ground, and they're starting to grow pretty quick. A little bit more rain, and I'm going to have to pull out the lawnmower. Thousands of blades of grass. Millions. Gone. In a second. And that's what your life is. Do you realize how many people die a second? Do you realize how many people die a day? Do you realize how many accidents there are a day? Look it up on the net. You'll be insanely amazed how many people actually die a day. How many people, they can break it down. I don't have the notes to break it down in these minuscule little things. And a second, it's like a couple thousand die a second. And you're like, what? How many people are diagnosed with cancer a day? And you're like, what? These horrible little things. Your life is nothing. And after you die, you're nothing. The only what you do for Christ, only do what you do, only living for Christ right now will matter afterwards. You could build the biggest empire. You know, President Obama, he is a president, and he would love to be the emperor. He said so himself. If I was the emperor, I could fix it. Well, even if he was the emperor, Lord willing, he never will be, but he might be. Who knows? But the time will come, he's going to die. Whether it be by assassination, which Lord pray not, or natural causes, or sickness. Eventually, he will die. He's just a man. He will die. And then what good would this all have done him? Nothing. He'll be a footnote in history, if he's that lucky. If he's lucky enough to be a footnote. I mean, we've had tons of presidents, and that they're not even really a footnote. They're just kind of blopes. What's the use of a life without Christ? What? I don't know if this one guy came along. You know, it was an amazing. He had a piece of petrified poop. That's what it was, a piece of petrified poop. And it'd been around for, I think, almost 1,000 years. At least they think that was what it was at. A piece of petrified poop. And he says, this petrified poop has outlasted nations and kingdoms and entire empires that we don't even know about in history. This piece of poop actually lasted longer than all these amazing great men. And he goes, I want my life to be like this piece of poop. And you go, what? He goes, the only thing that I want is to leave, the only thing that I can do is leave a mark in this world. And the way I leave a mark is up to you, however you leave a mark in this world. After you die, you're dead. You're either in heaven or hell. And if you're in hell, no one cares. Really, honest to God, no one really cares. You give 20 years, who was that? Who cares? I mean, your family might mourn. 20 years, you're a distant memory. 3 years, actually, you're a distant memory. I could probably take that down to 2, but some people will mourn up to 4 years. I mean, I know. Yeah, but anyway, 20 years, you're a distant memory. You've got nothing. There's no use in you. But if you serve God with all you have and everything, and you truly walk that walk, relationship, not religion. It is so easy to fall on religion, and it destroys your life and your family's life to fall into religion. I'm talking about every day. I want to know the truth, Lord. I want to know you. I don't care what he says. I don't care what she says. I want to know you. Don't look left, right. Know him and him only. Because Christ is the only reason for living. And I've watched Christ do amazing things in people's life because one man, my father, was willing to, not just him, but he was one of the instrumental men in doing this because he said, I want to know Christ. He falls. He's a normal man. He falls every day. But he still has his eyes on Christ. And it's so easy to step off that tightrope. So you cannot judge someone else because you judge someone else, you're off that tightrope yourself. But I've watched entire people's lives change that were horrible. Messed up in drugs and alcohol and suicidal spirits. I mean, nothing to live for. Their life turned around and they've become some of the most amazing people, the people that actually make a difference in your life and other people's lives. All because of Christ. He's the only thing that can turn your life around and make a difference. So I challenge you today to drop religion. If you're a religious person, begin to truly cry out, God, I want to know the truth. I want to know the truth. I'm tired of all these things I've been taught. I'm tired of everything I know. I'm tired of it all. I turned my back on it, and I just want to know the truth. I want to know what is real. I want to know you. I'm tired of the religious. Give me you. If you're in the world, realize, what is the worth of my life? What is the worth of my life? Not much. No, not much at all. I'm not happy. I try to be happy. I try to keep an optimistic spirit. Some do. Not many, but some do. Some try to be happy. But what's the worth of my life? Nothing. Nothing, at all. I'm not going to be a bump in the history. No one's going to even know my name. This is the truth. At the current rate, I'm 29 years old. No one's going to even know who I was. If I went out and stood in front of an 18-wheeler and got knocked today, the only people that would cry for me is my family and a few people around here. No one else would even care. This is the truth. You have to realize that you are worth nothing. Worthless. Totally. Yeah, pretty shocking. And decide that I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to become worth something. I want to know the truth. I'm tired of living a lie. I'm tired of living for myself, which doesn't beget happiness. It only begets sadness, because when I live for myself, you find out really quick, that wasn't satisfying at all. No, it wasn't. Wonder why. I don't know. It might have been satisfying for 15 minutes. Maybe an hour. Hey, maybe more. But eventually it comes to the point, that wasn't satisfying. and you find something that truly is satisfying, a walk with Christ, a relationship with God, because that's the only truly satisfying thing there is. So I challenge you, even with all my notes gone, I think my time's almost up. I challenge you to begin your own walk with Christ, to begin your own walk. I'm not even going to tell you how to get saved, not even going to even offer that situation, because that is so easy to walk the predestined path before you. There's millions of people that will tell you how to do that. A million people tell you how to live your lives. You know, I realized there's 4 questions, and I can't remember them right now. I'm going to try. Where did this world come from? Why am I here? What happens when I die? And what am I supposed to do here? Or something like that. I can't remember. But basically, those 4 questions, who am I, what am I doing here, and why is this earth here, and how was it here? How you answer those questions determines how you live your life. And how you answer those questions determines how easy people can manipulate you and change you and make you do things that they want you to do. How you answer those questions determines your entire philosophy of your life. You answer them one way, someone can control you that way. But if you decide that I'm tired of being manipulated, I want to know the truth for myself, and you just begin to really seek the truth, and guess what? You'll find the truth. Because there's only one path. This is true. And I'm not going to tell you I know it, because I'm always striving to learn the truth, to know the truth. And you will find it. If you seek it with your whole heart, you will find him. It's written in the Bible, and it is one word true, because I know it for a fact. I've seen it myself. I've watched it myself. I've done it myself. If you begin to seek the truth for yourself, instead of being manipulated and told all these other things by other people, and truly begin to look, you truly begin to look at the science you've been told, evolution, whatever it is, look at the science. Truly find it. You'll be amazed at the science things that you can find that are true, and go, wow, I never knew that before. How come I bought that? Wow, I'm pretty downright stupid, ain't I? And you really begin to look at things. You truly seek the truth, and you will find it. So that's my challenge for you today, is begin to seek the truth. Begin to try to find the truth. And then, once you find it, to walk the walk. To walk it every day of your life, and continue to seek it every day of your life. And you know what? You'll find that you're a happier person, you have a purpose, you have a vision, and you have a plan, because God will give it to you. He'll make something of nothing. He'll take your worthless crap piece of life, my life, and turn it into an amazing gem or jewel. If you really seek and truly walk that path, you'll be amazed at the things you are. From this day, when you choose, next year, you'll be amazed at the difference. And you go, wow, I can't even believe I used to be like that. Yeah. So, that's all I have to say. My time is up.